Good afternoon, folks. This is CloudChartist with your weekly Ichimoku wrap. I'm getting a little bit of a late start, so I'm going to be going through this pretty quick before the futures open at 6 and start making new weekly candles that will cause confusion, but we will just go with it if I go over. So right now we're looking at the CL crude July contract. This is actually the continuous contract. The July contract doesn't really have enough data to make a good weekly chart, but so what I was very interested in finding out last week was whether or not the candle here, let me zoom in a little bit since you've already seen the big picture, and I apologize I don't have a cursor due to a problem with the broadcasting software, but hopefully you can see my crosshairs. This candle right here where my crosshairs are at, I wanted to see whether or not that would close above or below the Kijun-sen, and indeed it closed above the Kijun-sen, which is currently at 59.72. So that's important as it is acting as support. So my logic was that if it closed below the Kijun-sen, that it would potentially sell back down towards the Tenkan-sen, which is currently at 53.96. So that's an important level to keep an eye on the Kijun-sen to see if it holds that level of support. If so, we could see upside anywhere up to the cloud, which actually is quite high at this point. It's 83.80. Obviously, chances are it's not going to go that high this week. We do see the Tenkan-sen here, the blue line on the bottom, pointing upwards, so it could actually come up and go for a bullish cross over the Kijun-sen, which is the pink line, but only time will tell if that's the case. If for some reason we sell back below the Kijun-sen, then we will have a very well-defined range between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen down at 53.96. Right. Overall, however, crude is still bearish as it's under the cloud. Let's look at ES. Yes, look at that beautiful uptrend. We see that this chart is fully bullish in always Ichimoku. The current price action has been holding the Tenkan-sen on a closing basis for quite some time. This one candle here looked a little bearish as it came quite low below the Tenkan-sen during the week, but then closed far above with this big hammer, another big hammer. Last week's candle was a little bit of a potential doji, so it's possible that we could see a reversal back down towards the Tenkan-sen, which is currently at 2083.63. As long as it holds at 2083.63, it's still fully bullish. We do have coming up in the future, like in July towards August, a flat spot in the cloud. That could cause price to want to do some sideways consolidation, so keep that in mind also, but overall, still fully bullish. Let's look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ, same, fully bullish. Having trouble, did not make a new high, having trouble with this resistance area here around 45.34. So also the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen are both still flat below, I don't know if you watched my show last week, but as long as these stay flat, then price action should remain sideways. When we see the Tenkan-sen point up, then we can expect another move to new highs. It would be really nice to actually come down and tag the Tenkan-sen down at around 44.0725 before going higher. The Russell is a little bit looks a little bit more vulnerable, as I've been mentioning, because of this little dip in the cloud here. But we're moving through time and getting past that. So as we start into July, you see that we will have a rising cloud and a higher cloud, although it is flat in the same way that the ES is flat. But we did close above the Tenkan-sen, so still fully bullish in Ichimoku Charts for the Russell. Let's look at gold. Gold, after putting in a bullish close, but being limited by the Kijun-sen last week, came down and bounced off the Tenkan-sen here, and then came in and put in a close underneath the Kijun-sen. It came up and sold up beyond the Kijun-sen, and then closed down below, like near the lows. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit further for this. We also have the Chikou over here. The Chikou is this red line over here to the left, representing price action, time shifted 26 periods into the past, so 26 weeks in this case. You see that the Kijun-sen came down and actually found support at the top of this candle, which is why we were able to hold the Tenkan-sen probably here. So if you're not using Ichimoku charts to trade precious metals, you see what you've been missing. This is just beautiful how price action has been completely contained within the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen for the last 2 weeks in a row. Very nice. So those are that's our range for gold at the moment, between the Tenkan-sen at 1220 and the Kijun-sen at 1224.70, until one of those ranges is broken, or one of those levels is broken. We're still bearish under the cloud. We closed under the cloud, so fully bearish for gold. Let's look at silver. Similar to gold, silver put in a close underneath the cloud after testing the cloud, breaking into the cloud, and then coming down. It is above the Tenkan-sen, so we could see further selling down towards 1666 on silver, or we could get another test of the cloud up around 1736. So those are the levels you want to keep an eye on. The Chikou has space to move around in this area between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen above. But bearish in Ichimoku terms for silver. Let's look at coffee. Coffee was bear flagging underneath, putting in some teaser action last week as it sold up to beyond the Tenkan-sen, up to this, let's see what high it put in, 143.85, and then reversed very hard, and for a couple days, sold about $4 or $5 a day, and finished on near the lows. So coffee looks quite bearish here. 136.57 is resistance to the upside. If it does bounce, that would be a good level to short. Let's look at the euro. I feel like my future selection is a little bit random. So we see with the euro, we are still in this range between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen, and after that huge dollar pop on Friday, we see that we came down and almost tested the Kijun-sen down at 110. So if we lose the Tenkan-sen, if we lose the Tenkan-sen, that would be quite bearish potentially for new lows on the euro. But holding the Tenkan-sen is was good last week, so we can expect maybe a range trade between the Tenkan-sen at 110 and the Kijun-sen up here at 115.26. Until one of those is broken on a closing basis, it's still a range trade. Let's look at the dollar. So the dollar was looking quite bearish last week as it closed below the Kijun-sen, and then put in a really strong bounce, but did not get all the way back to the Tenkan-sen, which is at 96.71 currently. So we have another range trade set up here between 96.71 and 94.17, thereabouts, until one of those is broken. Overall, this chart is almost completely bullish, except for the fact that it's under the Tenkan-sen here. Let's get the Nikkei. Nikkei put in a masterful breakout from after a pullback to Tenkan-sen. Very nice. I went over this last week. Very nice buy setup in Ichimoku terms. When we pull back, tag Tenkan-sen, and then break out higher. Close very near the highs. We are kind of extended over the cloud, but I have a little bit of RSI down here. If we we look at that, we're not overbought. Even at new highs, we're not overbought on the RSI here because of this, all of this nice sideways consolidation action, I would say. What else? I don't see anybody commenting in the chat. And ooh, it's 5:59:25. I'm gonna let you go because the market is about to open. So thank you for watching. If you have any more requests, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. And if you're interested in learning more about Ichimoku and would like to check out my chat room, you can check that out at CloudChartist.com, or just ask me on Twitter. I'll be happy to send you more information. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day off tomorrow if you're not trading, and good luck trading next week.